Welcome back, guys. Unknown003 here, coming at you with the brand new Killer Instinct tutorial. And yeah, now we got ourselves the second poster boy of the franchise, that being Spinal. Bone Boy himself, who actually has like a more detailed personality and appearance. So, definitely his best design, but anyways. So yeah, with Spinal, like, a lot of his strengths come from the usage of his skulls. It basically just keeps people from using too much of their meter since it limits them once it actually does connect. But as per usual, you will start off with 0 skulls, so you are technically at your least powerful, but there are many different ways to kind of obtain skulls throughout the match. So it's a matter of, you know, like proper positioning and, you know, just obtaining skulls one at a time, or even sacrificing Shadow Meter for him. But anyways, yeah, so that's the basic premise of Spinal. He is the first character to actually have a teleport so far within the roster. And yeah, we'll dive deep into it once we get there. But first off, we'll just go ahead and get the normals out of the way. So here's the light punch, medium punch, heavy punch, pretty quick, light or crouching light, crouching medium, crouching light or heavy. This is actually one of the first moves that you could use to obtain a skull. So if you're close, you gotta be really close for this one. There you go, you got yourself a skull. So let's go ahead and waste that real quick. So now we go into, this is light kick right here. This is medium kick, and this is heavy kick, which is basically, based on the documentary I saw, just a kick to the balls, which is hilarious. Alright, so this is crouching light kick, crouching medium, pretty good for poking, and this is crouching heavy. This is a slide attack, and although it is unsafe on block, it is a good get close option right here to catch your opponent off guard, to where you can continue a combo afterwards, which is pretty cool. So now let's get into the air attacks. This is light punch, medium punch, and this is heavy punch. I think this is actually a good anti-air, or not anti-air, but cross-up option? No, not really. Never mind. Alright, this is light kick right here. This is medium kick, which is basically a dive kick. You could kind of like do short hops into dive kicks if you're precise enough with your timing. Kind of like that. And heavy kick right here. I'm trying to see if this is a cross-up. Doesn't look like it. Anyway. But yeah, that's the basic premise of the normals. Now let's go into some of like the special normals. So for one, this is a Power Devour. It's actually one of his traits that he has within the game. It's very cool for building or obtaining skulls when your opponent is trying to do like special moves on you. This is just able to, you know, deflect and basically get skulls. So let's do a quick example here. There you go, we got a skull. And the best part about this is actually the fact that you can even absorb the shadow moves. It is really cool. And now I have 5 skulls to use. Just craziness. Anyway, well, while that skull is kind of just messing with Fulgore, you do notice that the meter at his on the bottom right is being maintained because of the fact that the purple skull is, you know, chilling there. So I guess this is a good time to talk about the character trait. So long as the purple skull is there, or even this one. So the purple skull will keep his shadow meter intact, or basically meaning that it will prevent him from obtaining more meter. And the same thing applies to the yellow skull right there, which can only be done if you get the shadow version of this, which is down forward all 3 punches, or 2 punches, excuse me. So yeah, that's the same thing. Instinct will not go up for the opponent if the yellow skull is there. It will disappear if you do hit him, or if it's been there for like 30 seconds, which by a couple more seconds it should disappear. Just like the purple one earlier. But yeah, that's a basic premise for the skulls. There it is, or there it was. So yeah, there's that, and of course the basic premise there. Let me double check that there aren't any other like normal attacks here. Yeah, okay. And then the last thing for the normals is actually an overhead. So back heavy punch, a pretty decently quick overhead for, you know, like get up options. You want to do like a quick knockdown. Let's do this. Like, bam, bam. That's one of Spinal's like good traits, is the fact that he has pretty decent overhead and low startups. So you got the overhead, or you could start with the low as well with the slide, which is also really good with distance. So this is what considers him like one of the more high tier players, because of the fact he could teleport around the map and also has some good and quick startups as well with mix-ups. So yeah, let's go into his more of his character trait. You have the skulls, which we had already talked about, but he also has the spectral manuals, which is basically gonna look like bam. So it allows him to do like an extra, it's not an auto double, but it's just a manual. So this is the auto double, and if you press the same button again, you get the 3rd hit. So that's kind of if you want to test your luck against the opponent on whether or not they'll break. But it's also in terms of timing, because it could screw them over in terms of timing out the combo breaker as well. So this is what the light's going to look like. Just a quick punch right there. That's what the medium looks like. And of course, that's the heavy. So that's basically the general idea of how the spectral manuals work. So now we'll get into the special moves. So the first one we actually had just done a couple times. That's a down forward punch. This is, if you do have skulls on you, this is when you'll be able to use them. And of course you'll be able to tell when you have like the green skulls floating around you. So this is going to be light punch, a low attack, which is pretty good. This is the medium, standard fireball, and the heavy overhead fireball. So you can kind of screw with your opponent there, and it is also good for kind of like mixing up your opponent as well. So you got that for you. And of course the shadow version basically halts your character or your opponent from gaining instinct. And the heavy, or the ender version, depending on how good your green bar is, if you have all 4, you will obtain 4 skulls, which is really good, which is why I'm recharged with the skulls again. But yeah, let's go ahead and waste them real quick, because there are actually more ways of obtaining skulls. So obviously you got this one right here, the crouching heavy punch. But of course, you also got the absorb, and also your throws. Actually, I forgot to mention. So if you do throw your opponent, you will obtain a skull as well, which is also pretty handy. Okay, so yeah, that's the general premise for the skulls, which is really cool. Next, let's go ahead and do the down back punch. That's basically this here. You will use up a skull if you do the heavy version of this. So this is the light, this is the medium, and then the heavy. If you have a skull on you, you will get 2 hits out of it. So let's use it up. Yeah, see, if you don't have a skull, you will only get 1. So there's that for you. The ender looks like this. Pretty much a decent launcher. And down back shadow version of it. Also good for like potential damage and dishing out your combo. So pretty handy. Now next we're gonna go into down forward kick, which is basically his lunge attack. Nothing too special. It doesn't go too far even with the heavy version. In fact, there is not much of a distance difference in between the light, which is, that's the light right there, and then the heavy. So there's a slight difference, but not by much. So you gotta be roughly within this distance right here to make an impact. So there's that. And of course, if you do have a skull on you, it is actually, it can't go through projectiles. So that'll be important to have, which is why skulls are extremely important to Spinal's moveset. So there's that for you. So let's go ahead and go into the shadow version. Just another combo extender. And if you do the heavy version of that, that's basically, bam, a carry ender. Pretty much does a wall splat if you are under 100 floors. So yeah, that's the general premise of that one. And now we also have, we'll probably do this one first. So 1 second. There we go. Now we're gonna go into his, one of his special shadow moves, which is down, down, all 3 punches. So if we press it once, he will automatically obtain 3 skulls, but in sacrifice of 1 of your shadow meters. So if you do feel like you need to get like a quick 3 skulls in the middle of battle, whether you do like a launcher or something, bam, you got yourself some skulls here to use for, you know, like either zoning out, some mix-ups, or just having, you know, advantage with your attacks as well. So there's that for you. And now last thing is going to be his teleport, which is down back kick. So the light version is going to pretty much carry you within short distance from the opponent, no matter where you are. Otherwise, if you're there, you're just going to stay at the same spot. The medium version is going to put you right in front of the opponent. It is a very risky move, so just keep a mind out on that. And now the heavy is going to put you on the other side. But it will still keep you close, you know, for like the opponent to grab you and stuff. So be careful on how you approach it. So this is another thing where the skulls come in, so that if you do have any, if you do the same exact the teleport, it does like a quicker teleport afterwards. But of course, you do need skulls for it. So let's go ahead and just summon more. Yeah, so you got this. I believe it only works with the heavy version. Yeah, so you could do it multiple times, but of course you need a skull for each time that you do it. So now let's go ahead and go into, that's what the linker looks like. Bam. Yeah, that move is basically where the damage comes in. So, bink, bink, bink. And then the heavy version, that's what the ender looks like, and it does a lot of damage. But if you do the shadow version of it, you could basically do a follow-up with it as well. The thing about Spinal is that he doesn't really have any air attacks, aside from the dive kick, of course. And he's not really good with juggling, like juggle combos. So you could do something kind of like this. Sort of like that. Let me do a better example here. So basically, kind of something like that. And yeah, that's basically what his special moves look like altogether. So now we'll dive into his instinct. Gorunga. He obtains 3 skulls immediately once in use. And yeah, you just be able to use them to your advantage. You will need to obviously obtain skulls more. But let me have the bot set to block actually, because this is another pretty decent trait as well. So if the opponent is blocking the attacks during instinct, it'll just bounce back. Like up to 3 times actually. Yeah, see, and then it just goes away. So if you want to see some crazy Spinal stuff with like the skulls during instinct while the opponent is blocking with maxed out skulls, it's gonna look like something like this. Just everywhere, man. It's just complete chaos. Yeah. There's a reason why he's considered one of the better characters in the game. So, yeah, that's a basic idea of how Spinal's skulls work, how his instinct work, and basically a lot of his normals and stuff. So, now, that's pretty much it for Spinal, man. Yeah, just some decent combo setups, great mix-ups, zoning options, so long as you do have skulls available for you, and of course teleporting, which is one of his more powerful traits. So yeah, let's finish it off with the good old Ultra. And yeah. And of course, it's on Spinal with his good old cackling. And yeah, like the very last thing I forgot to mention is that he doesn't have an actual dash, instead just the feral run. It is funny, so just bam. It is funny that every time that you do use it, he does laugh. And yeah, it lasts for a pretty decent amount of time, so you could always, you know, kind of like fool your opponent on how you approach as well. So there are definitely many ways for you to kind of like catch your opponent off guard with it. So yeah, that's Spinal, everybody. Hopefully you guys got a general, or at least a better idea on how he works. So that's gonna do it for now, y'all. Thank you guys very much for watching, and tune in next week where we will dive in next week with Fulgor, the true poster boy of the franchise. But in the meantime, thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll catch y'all later. Fight on, everyone.
Bring